Energy. It's the invisible current that runs our entire world, the very lifeblood of our civilization. But right now, deep beneath the surface, a massive shift is happening. We're going to tell the story of how recent shockwaves in the energy markets are doing more than just changing the price at the pump. They are literally redrawing the map of global power. To really understand this story, we have to start with a question. Think about the most powerful weapon in the world today. You're probably picturing a fighter jet, maybe a missile, right? But what if it's not a bomb at all? What if it's something much closer to home? Something we all rely on every single day? What if it's a pipeline? Because this, you see, is a story about the weaponization of energy itself. It's about how the fight to control these vital arteries is now at the very center of a new global conflict, one that's rewriting the rules for all of us. For decades, we all just sort of assumed everything was fine. We believed that this incredibly complex web of pipelines and tankers and power plants was solid, that it was resilient. We were wrong. The whole time, the global energy system was a system teetering right on the brink. A series of recent shocks just shattered that illusion of safety. It was like a curtain was pulled back, exposing the extreme, unbelievable fragility of the whole system. What we all took for granted was really just a house of cards, waiting for the slightest breeze to knock it all down. And then that breeze came. One nation made a calculated, strategic decision to turn its biggest economic asset into its sharpest weapon. I'm talking, of course, about Russia's move to weaponize its vast natural gas supplies against Europe. You see, before all this, Europe was deeply, fundamentally dependent on Russian gas flowing through those pipelines. It was a relationship built over decades, and then, almost overnight, that dependency became a crippling vulnerability. It triggered a panicked, desperate pivot to find energy from anyone, anywhere, at any cost. So it started when the Russian supplies were choked off. That set off an absolute scramble across the entire continent, with nations racing to lock down any alternative they could get their hands on. The result? A massive flood of money into new import terminals for what's called liquefied natural gas, or LNG, and at the same time, a huge acceleration of green energy projects. This wasn't strategy, it was a reaction born of pure desperation. But in every crisis, there are winners and losers. As the old energy order began to crumble, a new one was already rising from the ashes. And in this new landscape, new kings were being crowned, not because of their military power, but because of their control over a new, critical resource. And that resource is liquefied natural gas, LNG. The concept is simple. Use supercool natural gas until it turns into a liquid. Why is that a big deal? Because then you can put it on a giant ship and send it anywhere in the world. This is the game changer. It breaks the tyranny of the pipeline. It completely untethers natural gas from geography. And in this new LNG game, 3 nations have rocketed to the top: the United States, Qatar, and Australia. Suddenly, they are the new power brokers. They hold immense strategic leverage because they're the ones shipping this gas to a world that's absolutely starving for it. They are the new gatekeepers. But this story isn't just about Europe and Russia, not by a long shot. While one global power was being brought to its knees by energy insecurity, another one was watching, learning, and vowing to make sure it would never, ever suffer the same fate. Let's talk about China. To get China's strategy, you have to understand the sheer scale of the situation. This chart just gives you a glimpse of their massive energy diet. They are the world's #1 consumer, and their appetite is only growing. So for Beijing, securing enough energy to keep the lights on isn't just an economic goal, it's an existential priority. And their strategy to achieve that security is just relentless. They are playing on all fronts. They're diversifying, signing long-term supply deals all over the world. At the very same time, they're investing truly staggering amounts of money in their own domestic renewables. And they're building massive infrastructure projects, new pipelines, new ports to physically connect themselves to these energy sources. It is a full-court press to make themselves invulnerable. And that brings us to a fascinating twist in the tale. Because the obvious answer to all this geopolitical mess seems to be renewable energy, right? The green transition. But as we're all discovering, the green energy game is a geopolitical minefield all its own. The promise is powerful, it's seductive. For any nation that's dependent on foreign oil and gas, renewables look like a golden ticket. It's a path to true energy independence, a future where you're no longer at the mercy of the big oil-producing states. But is it really that simple? The deeper we dig into this green transition, the more it looks like we might just be trading one set of dependencies for a completely new and maybe even more complicated set of dependencies. And this is why. To build all that green technology, the batteries for EVs, the giant wind turbines, you need a whole shopping list of critical minerals: lithium, cobalt, rare earths. And as you can see from this table, the processing of these essential ingredients is overwhelmingly dominated by one country, China. We could be escaping the choke point of fossil fuels only to run headfirst into the choke point of critical minerals. So what does this all mean when you put it together? Russia turning gas into a weapon, Europe's desperate pivot, the rise of these new LNG kings, China's all-out quest for security, and now these new dependencies hidden inside the green transition. It means the world as we knew it is being fundamentally rewritten. The old maps are useless now. The alliances and the power dynamics that defined the 20th century were all built on a foundation of fossil fuels. And now, that foundation is crumbling beneath our feet. We're accelerating toward a more chaotic, more unpredictable world. And it's all being driven by these deep, powerful currents of energy. We are living through a great global realignment. All the pieces on the grand chessboard are in motion. And it leaves us with one final critical question. In this new energy game, who gets to write the rules?
At Geotectonics, our mission is to uncover these profound tectonic shifts, offering clarity in a world of complexity. If this analysis deepened your understanding, please like this video to support our work, share it with others who seek real insight, and subscribe to Geotectonics to ensure you never miss our next deep dive. We'll continue to explore the crucial geopolitical movements that define our time. Thank you for joining us.